Hi, this is Dan Lietha, and welcome to Draw It and Know It. This is the art lesson edition, and I'm going to give you a little behind-the-scenes look at this drawing for Proverbs 3:6. And we have our guy from Proverbs 3:5. We're going to do a little adjusting to him to kind of continue the story. And so we've wiped out most of the drawing from last week. And now I'm doing a little construction, kind of figuring out where the form is going to go. And sometimes to do that, I'll lightly sketch. I like drawing in blue for whatever the reason. And then I'll be inking over the top of that later on. But sometimes I kind of draw a little skeleton with straight lines, and then I'll draw kind of a circle with where the joints are, just to kind of get a feel for the size of the arm and how the arm works. And I don't know what there's blue pencils that you can buy, so maybe it's kind of imitating those with those blue lines. Sometimes I draw in red too, so I don't know, it's between blue and red. Maybe it depends on my mood of the day. So our guy here has stopped leaning on his own understanding from last week, and he's got something else in his arms this week. I wonder what it is. But these practice runs for me, sketching things out, are very valuable because I'm trying to tell a story. I'm trying to communicate some information here. And so a lot of the stuff that you see, I don't know if people think about the planning that goes into it, but a lot of these things are drawn out multiple times before you see the finished product. And so here I'm just kind of demonstrating what, because I've drawn this many times already, but I'm doing a little demo for you guys so that you can see kind of what a rough version of this looks like early on, just kind of planning things out, getting the character to look like I want him to look, and communicating the points that I want to communicate. Now, Proverbs 3:5 and 6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths." And so last week, this guy was heading towards destruction, leaning on his own understanding. And so we had him kind of leaning over his own thinking, which was a word balloon or a thought cloud. And he was almost going over the cliff. And so now he looks like he's had a change of heart. And so he's got a Bible under his arm. He's trusting in God's word, and it's made a big difference in his life. So here we have the rough sketch is a very rough sketch is done. And now what I'm doing is I've taken that layer with the rough sketch on it, and I've made it lighter, lessen the opacity, and now I'm inking over the top of it in another layer in Photoshop. And if I were doing this on paper, it would be pretty much pencil, and then I would ink with an ink pen or a brush over the top of the sketch. Sometimes sketches are tighter, which means they're more exact in their detail, and sometimes they can be really rough and loose. And for my demo purposes here, I've kept things pretty loose. I'm trying to go fast and save time. And the inking drawing is kind of loose too. So usually, if I'm going to do something for publication or something that's going to be printed online or some nice finished product, anyway, I'll take a lot more time than you see here, and I'll make sure my lines are nice and crisp. And one of the other things you might notice too, and I'm not taking great detail and time in doing so, but my brush, my stylus on my Cintiq, the Wacom Cintiq that I'm using to draw this, has pressure sensitivity to it, and so my lines can be thick and thin, which can add a lot of visual interest to the character or whatever you're drawing, versus just having a uniform weight line that you're using for your drawing. And here you'll notice that trail goes off in the background, and I think I'm going to try to use smaller lines back in the distance. So thinner lines in the background communicate that something is far away, and then the lines get thicker as you come closer to the camera, or the viewer anyway. So again, the lines, the line thickness, line weight can communicate different things. And here, the light lines, like I said, are to communicate that that is a cliff in the distance. Now that's the cliff from Proverbs 3:5. That's where this guy was. But again, he's had a change of heart, and he's awakened to his situation. The Lord opened his eyes, and so now he's left that direction, and he's going in a different direction. So trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. That was Proverbs 3:5. In all your ways, acknowledge Him. So this guy has got a Bible now, and he's trusting God's word. So he's acknowledging God in his life, acknowledging God's wisdom and His word, and he is headed in a different direction, a life-saving direction in this case. And so the last little thing that we have here is a sign that gives an indication of the direction of his life. And so there are two different directions that this sign indicates. And the first sign, as the verse says, our understanding, or man's understanding, human beings' understanding. So that's the first one, and that sign is pointed towards destruction. And so that's not the direction we want to go. So the bottom sign pointing the opposite direction. So God's thoughts many times are opposite of our thoughts. God's word is the direct course to take. So just kind of finishing up the little details on the drawing. So here's our little sketch planned out for performing for the final, which you already saw, but you got to see some of the planning sketches. So thank you for joining us for this week's Draw It and Know It. Look forward to drawing more for you in the future. Have a good week. Stay safe. Stay well. And thanks for watching.